Good morning, everyone. We'll do some sound tests here at the very start. As always, I struggle with audiovisual technology, so let me know if I'm coming through clearly. And good morning, friends. I see lots of familiar faces in the chat. Or good evening to those on the other side of the world, like Jeff Whitty down there. The chat is mirrored you. I can fix that. I definitely know how to do that. The chat is mirrored. Oh, I can see it. Oh, that's funny. Wonder how I did that. Let's learn in OBS and figure out how to flip that. Flip horizontally. There we go. Pro streamer. Yeah, you'd think I'd be any good at this point. I've actually done several live streams. Maybe it could be a touch louder. Yeah, this microphone has served me really well, but what everybody keeps saying is it's always a little too quiet. And so I might just need to upgrade the mic because the little bar is maximized on like the output for this microphone. Sounds perfect to me. Okay, well, I won't fiddle with it anymore. Well, good morning, everybody. I should have the ticker displayed for the Kickstarter and chat. And what a wild month and year it has been. A lot of you know just how crazy this last year has been, and it's really heartening to see. Let's see, I'll point correctly on OBS to see these numbers over here. And I wanted to just hang out with y'all this morning, but also talk about the lessons I already learned from this Kickstarter and things that worked really well, things that I would change next time, things that were awesome. And thank you all for the congratulations. So, yeah, I'm going to show some numbers here. We'll look at some metrics because I like looking at metrics. How crazy this year has been. I haven't been paying attention. Yeah. Well, and for those that may not know, in August 2024, I decided to begin what I called Burnout Year. I launched a YouTube channel and began trying to build a community and an audience and prep for a Kickstarter 1 year after that date. And the plan was that I would go 110% for 1 year. And so that if my Kickstarter failed, I would know that it wasn't for lack of trying. That if I wasn't able to get my game funded, it wouldn't be because I was sitting on my laurels or really not putting in the necessary hours or effort. And so that's what Burnout Year was. Really just working the day job during the day, closing that laptop, and then staying up late on this other computer, on this other desk, late into the night each night to get all of this done, to create YouTube videos, a video every week, working with Tim, the editor, who's probably in chat. I think I saw him, while also finishing the alpha version of the game that had been running for a couple of years. And so it was quite a journey. Definitely put in a lot of long hours over the last year. All in an attempt to get my game off the ground because I knew that the game that I was making was niche. I knew I had good design ideas and I knew like my design mind was fairly well honed, but this is my first product and my first Kickstarter. And it's post-apocalyptic Weird West action horror, which is very niche, but also very cool. And I knew that there would be a challenge in communicating why the game is cool, right? Why the mechanics underneath are cool, and why the world and its setting and its monsters are cool. So, oh, thank you. I'm seeing TTRP Genius, Odin's Key Gaming. Hello, good morning. Or for some of you, it's probably close to later in the almost, well, let's see. East Coast, it's coming up on 10 a.m. Yeah, Burnout Year definitely feels like it was worth it because we made it. And what's really interesting, and I'm gonna talk about these numbers here in a few minutes. 2:30 here in England, 2:30 in the future. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about these numbers a little bit because there's some interesting lessons that I've learned about constructing a Kickstarter and monetizing it that I think is fascinating. Because we actually have quite a few backers, right? Like that's a lot of people. It looks like 754 right now. That's a lot of people getting my weird, my weird cowboy game where you shoot zombies and monsters, and that's incredible, right? That's so many people. And one of the lessons that I'm going to go over is, had my campaign maybe been better monetized, maybe this number would have translated to more here. I don't regret for a moment the structure that I went with on this Kickstarter page, and I'll tell you how that went, like what the plan was, because it's also how I would prefer a Kickstarter page to be. So let me tell you about how I set this up and the intentionality behind the campaign. So let's see if we can pull up something to display here for y'all. We're going to switch to a different looking view. Let's do this screen. So the Kickstarter campaign, what I want to talk about briefly, let's see if yeah, this looks like it shows up okay, is the rewards. And I'm not here to like sell you on the rewards, but to talk about what we offered. For those that already, backed the project and took a look at this, we really just offered the game. Right? You get the PDF, there's a hard copy, there's a special edition embossed foil, cover instead, and then a bundle for the 2 books. And then our super tiers, which I'll come back to. We really just offered the game itself. No dice, no GM screens, no other accessories and toys. And part of that was because with the state of global shipping right now and tariffs and so forth, it's actually very unpredictable what the actual costs of products that you must manufacture outside of the US and then ship outside of the US. There's already enough there's so much unpredictability in how much it will cost to ship out of the US, hence there's a whole couple paragraphs in the Kickstarter page about it. And so keeping this very simple reduces liability because it's, just me and a couple buddies, doing this whole project in our free time, between our day jobs, basically. And we are not a huge business with a staff or anything like that. So anything that we promise, me and Daniel and Tim have to put in the mail ourselves, right? We have to manage that the manufacturing, importing into the US, and then shipping potentially back out of the US. And so seeing how unpredictable, excuse me, all of that was, we decided, excuse me, to keep it super simple for this campaign, to just sell the book. And what this has shown, what's more, is that the promise of the product itself, the book itself, is what will be the main selling point of this campaign. Not necessarily all the accessories and extra content that surround it. And I know a lot of that stuff is very cool and awesome, and like big box sets with tons of toys and accessories that come with it are awesome. But for my first campaign and my first product, it's actually really interesting to see how far we've come, how much we've gotten supported just based on the game itself, right? 754 backers. There's something like, I think it's approximately 400 copies, hard copies have been sold of this number above me, the 754. And I'll share, we'll look at some metrics together here. It's really actually awesome to see how many people want the game, right? Or want to support the project. And that's really interesting. Now, but at the same time, this is one of the lessons learned. And again, not that I would change this, but it also means that the average backer, the average pledge is about $60. Now, a lot of very big campaigns that offer a ton of ways for people to spend more money on it, they can get average pledges of $100 or $200 or more. And, imagine if 754 backers each had with an average pledge of $200, you can see how it would be a huge campaign. But at the same time, you are responsible for the manufacturing and production of everything you've promised. So of the, when you have like a $200,000 campaign, how much of that is actually going to be, I'm going to use the term burned here, like burned on production of accessories, right? With this campaign, the costs are concrete and known ahead of time because we're also using a US-based printer. So I already have a quote like signed and everything from the printer that is printing here in the US. So there's no extra potential fees for a tariff of importing the crates of the books, right? It's all very known and calculatable ahead of time. Additionally, with our stretch goals, let's see if these look okay on the stream. The stretch goals are also things that don't blow out the scope of the project. Now, we only got this first stretch goal, which is awesome to see. I can't wait to send everybody like the miniature STL files and the bullet dice. It's gonna be so cool. Let's see. I think stopping scope creep was very smart. Said someone who's been burned on waiting for Kickstarter who wanted to deliver the moon and took 3 extra years to do so. That's a really good point, Stephanie. I have been in that same situation where everything was promised and they make, let's say this campaign made $100,000 instead of looks like just shy of $42,000. But I was on the line for all of these products, extra products that I would have to produce. If this made $100,000, none of that really goes into my pocket, right? That'll have to go into production, and it's not like I can quit my day job. And so I am now on the line to produce all of these things in my free time, which could really blow out that timeline. We're really confident in the timeline we quote at the bottom of this project, where it's basically 1 year from right now you'll have the book in your hands. And the main reason that's going to take that long is just to get all the art done, right? We're working with 4 or 5 artists to make just tons of art. And so, excuse me. And so it's keeping scope controlled and keeping everything very focused. And the other thing I'll kind of mention is the price that we set things at is what I would pay for products. And I know that's kind of a strange thing to say, but like more than $20 for a PDF always feels kind of weird to me. And more than $60 for a hardcover feels kind of weird to me. And so that's what we set these at. We set at what I would think would be, a fair price to sell them. We maybe could have charged more, I guess, but that's what I thought was like a good price. That's what I look for when I back things, is a price that I feel comfortable with. So it's very interesting. The chat got flipped on this. Thank you for mentioning that. That's funny. I fixed it on the other stream page, the other scene. Let me catch up on chat here. I was ranting for a bit. Did you ever think of increasing the amount in the higher tiers? So this is a very good question, Frank. So if I take a look at, we had the Hero of the Ruination and Forge a Legend tiers, which were the super tiers. Honestly, I wasn't expecting any of these to sell. These sold out in like 2 days. All of them were just gone immediately. And there was this temptation to increase these significantly, right? To add more spots here for people who want to put big dollars down. That would have made me more money. It's true. But I was very concerned about scope creep. The reason for that is for every Hero of the Ruination tier, that's another person I need to coordinate with to get art information from for their self-insert, so to speak, for their character. It's somebody else I need to coordinate with, and I have to finish coordinating with them before the artwork can begin on theirs. And honestly, before I can begin any of the backstory element artwork, I need to have all of those in, because basically the Heroes of the Ruination, that they reserve, so to speak, a backstory slot. And so I need to have that all sorted out before I can send the whole packet over to the incredible artist who will be working on that set. So this could delay the beginning, delay that artist beginning their work. It's something that could push out the timeline, right? With Forge a Legend, there's only a few of them, but Forge a Legend is a personal, it's a coordination, a design like project with individual people. And so that also will take time from finishing the last bits of the manuscript or working on the production or testing, running sessions, whatever that may be. And so I could have maybe had double the number of slots of both of these, but there's a non-zero cost of my time and potentially of pushing production time further if one of the Heroes of the Ruination or Forge a Legend people is unresponsive to my emails, right? If they don't, get back to me about this for a couple months, right? That pushes production outward. So again, it's very focused now. Now, next Kickstarter that I run, I'll probably have more of this. I'll have more options like this because I'll have learned a lot about what I need to do. But that's a great question. I was very, it's like, yeah, I could have another $500 in my pocket if I added another Hero of the Ruination slot, but do I have time to handle another Hero of the Ruination collaboration? So let's see here. Sorry, that was a great question, Frank. Let's see. Oh, Twin Seal is saying we work to keep scope creep down in Nimble. Yeah, Nimble and Evan, who is a creator of Nimble, it's a great example both in design of a very focused design idea and also a very focused crowdfunding campaign. So I have this tentative collab with Evan on the books that we talked about a long time ago. I've just been so swamped because I think I just want to I want to sit down with Evan in a live stream and talk shop about, live stream or recorded, and talk shop about the idea of iterative design in tabletop and game design in general, rather than innovative design. And I've talked about this before, where iterative design is absolutely legit. You don't need to reinvent the wheel or every time. All he did was make a number of very clean and smart adjustments from your standard D20 fantasy, like the D&D experience, to really hone it in. And the gestalt of his iterative design decisions makes Nimble feel very much like a 6th edition D&D. Like it's an evolution of it. It's very cool. I want to just pick his brain on that because I watch his live streams and he's just super sharp. Let's see here. See some folks having to head out. Thanks for stopping by, Jordan. Coordinating with contributors is a time-consuming process. Oh, absolutely. And I love the connection with the community, and that's what, how this all really happened, was this huge community support. Oh, Crosspaths. Oh, hey, Crosspaths. Crosspaths, I always thank you for answering all the questions in the big design Discord and answering my questions or correcting my misconceptions. You know what you're doing when it comes to crowdfunding, and you make some very cool stuff. So hello, my friend. Oh, here's a question. For the TFE SRD, are there going to be resources to make scenarios look nice, like fonts, backgrounds, design guidelines? Yeah, we're going to be providing a style guide for how we've laid things out ourselves. Basically, we're just going to give a couple page templates that show here's how. Yeah, I can actually show you. So the idea would be if you're going to make your own backstory elements. Let's see how this looks on the stream. So this is a mock-up, right? Not the final product. This is what we have on the Kickstarter page. So we'll provide a template that's this roughly showing the layout, with noting what size font and what font and its size we used for various things. So that it would be easy for you to, if you want to make your own backstory elements, it's a template that you could follow to try to make it look cool. Now, I'm not going to have like a home brewery page set up, right? I can't I can't do that. I don't have the bandwidth to set up a dedicated site that lets you very easily make these. But, come on, I only have so much time. There's actually this Friday, for those interested in what I'm calling the TFE OGL and the TFE Core, the SRD, this Friday's video, which is tomorrow, actually goes into how I designed the backstory elements, like how I actually went about creating all of them, and I talk more about templates and such that we will be providing. So yeah, we're going to be giving a number of templates for the core types of things you might want to include in a Tales from Elsewhere product, like to make something compatible with TFE. And similarly, for an adventure, we'll also have one of those. That might not be ready at the time. I'm still working on a lot of that stuff. Basically, I'm not that experienced in creating adventure products. I'm a very experienced GM, but actually like doing layouts for them and preparing that is something I'm still working on. But we will be providing information about adventure setup as well. Excuse me. How did you decide you were ready to take TFE to Kickstarter? That's a really good question. So I had been fiddling with this game idea for, here we can go off live streaming for a moment. Let's see this one. So I had been fiddling with this game for like a decade now, just on and off. I'd put it down for several years and then pick it back up. And really, I knew that it wasn't that, okay, now I'm ready to go public, or now I'm ready to prepare a Kickstarter. It was, I gave myself a deadline to have it ready to go to a Kickstarter. I'm very much a deadline-driven person. So I had made the plans. I planned for Burnout Year like a year in advance. I started. Basically, I had produced, I think about 200-page spiral-bound alpha rulebooks. Like I had a complete product built for my game. I just, used, FedEx or whatever and printed a bunch of these, like an actual rule book. Didn't have, it wasn't beautiful looking, didn't have cool layouts. It was just made in Microsoft Word. But I produced these rule books. I printed like a dozen of them. And then I ran 1 year long, or 6 to 12 month campaigns, depending on scheduling, for three different local groups. 2 in person and 1 online. And I ran the same campaign for each of them, like a really focused campaign with testing a bunch of monsters and combat situations and resting mechanics, like really just putting all of the systems of my game to a test. And ran all of those. And once that was done, and I realized just how good it was, like, okay, this is now can move out of this internal alpha. Like it's at a point that feels like it's a real game now. There's enough built to do so. And after that campaign, that was in 2023, I want to say, that all of those ran. Then it was, okay, time to really start refining these ideas and getting the updated manuscript underway, preparing for a YouTube channel. Fortunately, I had no shortage of ideas to talk about on a YouTube channel. I'm a ranty guy, so that part was easy. But it wasn't so much like there was this eureka moment. It was I was moving through testing phases on a schedule, and that made me feel ready that I could hit that Kickstarter goal. So really, it's just, what else am I going to do in my free time? Just sit here and keep playing Path of Exile, with my eyes glazing over, which I do love doing. So I decided to just really make a focus on that. Let's see here. I think there was another question. Will you have an open game license? Yes. I've already got that mostly drafted at this point. It is the TFE OGL. It's like Shadow Dark and Morkborg's. It's extremely open, permissive, no, there's no fees to me or to Tales from Elsewhere games. Extremely open. There's an SRD that goes along with it that provides the bones, like the skeletal structure of my rule system that you could reference then in your own products and sell them. The usual stuff is the limitation, like you can't reprint my artwork, right? You can't reprint my monster stat blocks. Basically, stuff that's in my books, you can't reprint. You could make reference to, like you could write an adventure featuring the Blood Oilers, but you can't copy paste the stat blocks out of my game to put in your own and then sell them. But you could design products to be compatible with an official TFE product and put a little stamp on it. You know, we're working on a little graphic to say like this is compatible with TFE, right? To be used with the Clockworld setting. But yeah, totally open-ended there, because homebrewing stuff in my system is actually very easy. Making monsters is easy. Building whole campaign settings is actually quite easy. Like for a playtest, I actually, with my local D&D group, my local guys, I made backstory elements and excuse me, and some origin edges for our fantasy role-playing game. Like we played a session of Dark Sun, but using my rule system. Like I made their characters that are D&D 5e characters in my system. It was a lot of fun. So homebrewing is actually pretty easy. Like putting these together is not bad at all. Like I said, there's a video on Friday where I go into that in a little bit more detail. Let's see here. The burnout plan sounds like something from a TFE setting plot hook. Yeah. I made a deal with a coal baron over the last year, that's for sure. Coal baron is initiating Project Burnout. Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Ooh, throat's a little. I had to get up quite early. Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, so this is an early start for me. So pardon my scratchy throat. See, how are we doing on time? It's just about 1 hour left. Oh wow, we're probably going to hit 42K at the end here. Oh, yeah, Odin's Key Gaming, and I assume that's Zarek. That's a really good point. So a lot of folks can get burned out on their project and stressed about it and not be able to get it to the next level. And there's a difference between, I think, burning out on a project and planning a burnout period of time. So I work in software, and for those that are familiar with this sort of workflow, it's not just in software, it's called a sprint. And normally a sprint is like a week or two, right? It's a very focused amount of time. And what I decided is that I'm going to block out this amount of time and really just focus in for that chunk of time. So and I knew that it would burn me out to do it, like that it would burn me down. Like my tank is quite empty at this point. My fuel tank is empty. That's why I have a couple little trips planned for October, just small things to reinvigorate myself. Taking Mrs. the Sheriff to a national forest not far, and should be great. You know, just get away from the technology for a bit. Anyway, when you plan for burnout, it's much easier to control because you know the end goal, you know the time that you need to stay amped like this. So it's much easier to manage. It's not just you're waffling about and then you stumble and fall. Yeah, it's a marathon. Yeah, I ran a marathon, not a sprint. I was prepping for a marathon, right? And I was in a position that I could do that. I'm a fairly ambitious, person. But it also is quite taxing. So one of the lessons that I learned is I would not recommend, if you're planning on following in my footsteps, figuratively speaking, don't do a burnout year like I did. It is not something that, 9 out of 10 health professionals will not recommend what I've done over the last year. So don't necessarily do like what I did, but working in controlled bursts, like, you commit like, okay, this next week, I'm not going to touch my video games. I'm not going to do anything but work on my game. And then I'm going to give myself 2 weeks off, right, from the project. You got to keep yourself fresh. So yeah, it's very tough. Oh, you can't go into crowdfunding without a plan though. You just cannot wait. Oh yeah. Just something I scrolled up and saw cross paths mentioning. Absolutely. The crowdfunding campaigns take a lot of preparation. Shocking. I know. And it's a lot of work during the campaign. So another lesson that I learned is I didn't space out I didn't do it probably enough advertising. So it's not that like I had awesome ad spots and awesome people that I connected with and really got the word out there. But I don't think I spaced out like the rhythm of ad spots quite as effectively to create more of a push at the end. I kind of like front loaded a lot of ad spots. So that's something I kind of learned is because if we look at the chart, let me pull up a chart here for y'all. Switching. Oh, thank you, Ken. Hey, don't sweat it. And just to let everybody know, we will be accepting late pledges. Let's see, we have 1 hour left. So we are accepting late pledges for certain things on our campaign. You'll be able to get to keep ordering the regular edition of the rulebook for the next couple months, and we're going to leave the PDF orders open for a chunk of time after that into 2026. Because the PDFs don't require additional overhead, but books do. Basically, end of 2025, we have to lock in exactly the size of the order. So we will be accepting regular book orders for the next few months, 2 months approximately. Yeah, about 3 because gotta get to the end of December. Anyway, and then PDFs will be open after that. Eventually, we'll open our own like storefront or put it up on itch or something, right? So for those that are interested in, backing it later, this isn't the last time you'll be able to get access to the game, right? It's not going to be the end of the story, so to speak. But like the Eldritch Green, like that special edition embossed cover, that sort of stuff is no longer available in 58 minutes, 57 minutes just ticked down. Let's see here. Yeah, and so and just to kind of, I never want anybody to like put themselves out to back my funny cowboy game about shooting zombies. Like, if you can afford to get it awesome. If not, don't sweat it, right? Especially international friends. International shipping is really expensive right now, and there's no indication that it will become cheaper when I'm shipping these next year. I hope it does, but when in doubt, just grab a PDF or I'll sell them later. It's all good. I'm not going anywhere. Pathways of Adventure. Oh, thank you, my friend. Yeah, it's very cool to see. And so what I'll show you guys, I'll show you some interesting charts now. Same here. Mobile dev with a ton of my free time going into GMing. Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I do a very boring type of database work for my day job. I have a good day job. I don't do exciting Salesforce development. I don't do exciting like stuff like that. So I'm going to show you guys this chart really quick here. So I can't show you so the page I'm showing you, I can't like scroll and show anything else because there is backer information on it. So I'm just showing you this very tiny view of what the analytics are. But what I want to show you is take a look at this chart. There's some interesting things about this chart. And what it'll actually probably, let's, we're going to pop this into Excalidraw so we can talk through some things. Because we like to work in Excalidraw around here. That's what we do, right? So let me show you some interesting things I learned. Make that a little easier to read. So we've got some interesting arcs here in the backers. So I'm going to draw some lines on this. So that first day, right, was an incredible first 24 hours. The first day, we got 50% funded in the first day. And one of the common adages of crowdfunding is that what you make in your first day is what you make in the next 3 weeks, or 3.5 weeks, and then what you make again in the last 48 hours. That's like one of the patterns that is very common to see. And ours is a little different. So we ended up getting a lot more in the middle here. Here, I'll make these a little thicker actually. So we had this incredible trajectory on that first day, which isn't expected to maintain. And then you'll see that over the next couple days, we had this other very aggressive line, right? Next couple days were also huge spikes. And then, which would have made us fully fund in the first week, potentially, if we had kept that up. That's also, that first couple days, though, is when a lot of ad spots and marketing went out, right? We went very hard on that initial couple days. Then we entered a very, if we draw this across, right, it's a very steady line, actually, with some ups and downs, some wiggle to it. But note that the middle of the campaign, leading all the way up to the last few days, was incredibly consistent in its growth. And it was actually quite a bit of growth. Like, it was very steady. And then the last couple days is a larger spike, but definitely not as sharp a angle as our first two. And if we look at these, I mean, I'm not doing this via an exact science here. So forgive just looking at lines. Oops. But if we take a look at these two, we can see that it wasn't quite as sharp, but it is sharper than the bulk of the campaign in the middle, right? Definitely sharper than that. So it's very interesting to see how that all played out across the campaign. And a lot of this makes sense. We probably could have had maybe bigger spikes if I'd spread out some of the ad spots, or honestly put maybe more money into ad spots. I don't have a lot of spare cash to put it because I had to front load the money, right? I had to put that up out of pocket initially. And so I wanted to keep advertising costs down and more leverage the community that I've been connecting with and that I've worked with, rather than dump a ton of money that I don't have into advertising. So it's been very interesting to see this. And maybe next time we try to get the end of this campaign to have a sharper angle, right? To more resemble the first few days. I think that would be a big win. So let me catch up on comments here. What will you do after fulfilling the Kickstarter? What's your next TTRPG sprint? Oh boy. Well, so a lot can happen in the next year, of course. The main thing we want to work on. Okay, so let's talk some real talk here about stretch goals. So we did not hit the adventure stretch goal here, right? Unless, in the next 52 minutes we make like $10,000. It's probably not going to happen. So what actually one of the big focuses is going to be is still trying to get these adventures to the community in some form or another. We don't have exact details to share at this time, but the next big push is going to actually be to make sure that when the hardcovers, when these books are out in the world, that there is adventure content to pick up and play, right? That when you take home my book, there isn't just like a little one shot that'll be included in the book. Like, there's actually some adventures to get you going, and you don't have to homebrew it all yourself. I think having access to adventures, a variety of adventures, is huge. So that's where a lot of energy is going to go. The next major release for Tales from Elsewhere games is going to be most likely a medieval horror fantasy setting. A setting book, just the same size as Clockworld here, but in a different world, compatible with, cross-compatible and all that. We codename all of these books that are in pre-production because we have a ton of them actually already begun sketching out. So this one's codenamed Medieval Madness. The Medieval Madness book is probably the next big project that I'll be working on. As this last year has shown, or in these numbers above me have shown, people are interested in my game. Like, they're interested in what I've built. And the hope is that by providing such a high quality product, right, we're going to really try to make this just as good looking as a major publisher, that I'll have proven to the community that, hey, I can do this and it's a quality product and it's worth your time. And so the subsequent products that are cross-compatible, the hope is that we just, hey, get this again each time, right? And we can keep doing this forever, right? Free time allowing. Now, will I, put in the hours that I did over the last year? Probably not. I'm gonna have to tone that down a little bit. I was going real hard with like networking and YouTube and design and all that. So, yeah. Okay, that's fairly linear after day one. Your approach clearly worked, but you wish you had a Viral spike later. Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, I think if I had gotten my advertising a little bit cleaner, like could have had a nice, maybe a bigger spike at the end. That's okay though, honestly. This is a success. Like we went way over the crowd, the base funding goal, which is awesome. 52 minutes to make it look like the first line again. Yeah, am I right? What does the data look like as a gradient plot? The first derivative, like the first derivative. Oh, I'd have to export all of this out. So I am, let's see. Let's actually grab the current numbers really quick and we can punch them in. So this is like not formatted or anything yet. So the plan is to analyze a lot of this data. Sorry, let's grab the number of backers. Oh, this might be slightly, this page is out of date now. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So I haven't crunched it all yet. I'm trying not to hyperfixate on the numbers to the detriment of my mental health. You know what I mean? So what I actually have been producing, though, is noting a lot of metrics every day from Kickstarter to see, to look at trends. And I just haven't like really sunk my teeth into this yet. Put this down into various charts and ways of analyzing it. Haven't done that yet, but it is there's a lot of data for me to crunch. The current plan is to produce a video or series of videos condensing all that I've learned as an indie game designer, first time Kickstarter, making a niche product, right? Not I would say my product isn't a mass appeal product. That's not like good or bad. It's just the fact that I have niche tastes. And I want to provide as much information to my community, to the RPG community as I can. So there will be a lot of stuff like that coming later. For those who was asking about the derivative there. Oh, the verve. Yeah. So hopefully there'll be some better numbers for me to crunch later. Let's see here. There were a ton of other TTRPG Kickstarters at the same time as yours, Ciphers, Where's Blade, Scorched Basins. Do you ever feel the pressure from them? Oh, that's a cool question. So Cipher definitely felt a little pressure because it just absorbed so much money. I mean, like my local group backed the Cipher campaign for second edition. I didn't feel Scorched Basin specifically. I'll mention because I didn't feel pressure from them at all. They're my friends now, and actually at 12 p.m. my time, in just a handful of hours. I'm going to do a live stream with Bodhi of Homie and the Dude. Like we're going to hang out. We're going to hang out and talk shop about system neutral design, like what he does with Scorched Basin. So like, they're my friends. I don't think the indie crowd, like the small independent developers, we're not in competition with each other. We're in competition for market share of the larger zeitgeist, like the bigger companies. I'm very much a high tide raises all ships kind of guy, as you all probably know by now. So I didn't feel pressure from them. I felt kinship from them is maybe a better way to describe it. Let's see here. How much time do you think you'll have working on something else? You'll have working on something else in addition to the Kickstarter. Oh, how much time will I have? So, I mean, I will make the time. Making a Kickstarter is a ton of work, and there's always going to be ramp up for that. Over the next several months is going to be Peter reclaiming some of his mental health, like from a work schedule standpoint, getting to bed at a reasonable time. And so I don't know what the next year is going to look like availability wise. I hope to be able to play more games with like the community. I just think that'd be so fun, as I've been more absent from my own community, like the TFE community, and running games. I want to do more of that. I'd like to put that energy more into TFE itself. Let's see. Many systems died due to lack of playable content. Oh yeah, Steven, yeah, absolutely. I don't want there to be a lack of playable content. How do you plan to invest the funding over expenses in general? I'm not trying to pry, but I'm wondering if additional funding would be a good way to fund a dev studio. Oh, well, so the number, basically 100% of, wait, no point there. This number is just going right back into the product itself. It's not like Peter's pocketing any of this. This we're over the 35K stretch goal. Anything additional that isn't another stretch goal is just going to be put back into the game itself. So it's all going to go into maybe a little bit of additional artwork, right? We're going to put it in because this number is nowhere near enough to like, let me quit my software developer job, right? The margins in tabletop are not very high, right? The profit margins. Printing books is expensive, artwork is expensive. And so unless this number was, if you added a zero to it, maybe then you could start hire people and like turn it into a studio. But, I'm like a one guy and his buddies making the game. So crowdfunding, Kickstarter or crowdfunding is not a guaranteed way or an easy way to start a business because of the amount of in tabletop. I mean, the amount of overhead is that large. It's just very expensive. Let's see. Sorry, I missed this. The verb was Kickstarter always the site, or did you consider others? Yeah, BackerKit and the GameFound. I looked into all of them. Honestly, a lot of how to kind of put it. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of another. They're very similar. Originally, I was leaning more toward BackerKit years ago, and then I found Kickstarter now has their own pledge manager, their own fulfillment, built-in product rather than having to connect BackerKit to Kickstarter. So like why connect BackerKit to Kickstarter? We can just do on BackerKit. Kickstarter is just where I was most comfortable looking at, and honestly, BackerKit's absolutely cool. I think both are just fine. It does seem like we had a fair bit of organic Kickstarter traffic for the funding, which is cool to see. But honestly, it's dealer's choice. Pick your preference as far as platform. Do some research. Homie and the Dude. Yeah, the Homie and the Dude guys are so chill. I met with them a couple weeks ago, and we had just the greatest conversation. Just talking shop, and then we start talking about martial arts movies because I asked them this great question because they were saying they're really into like martial arts films, martial arts media, and I said, name me a martial arts star, a martial arts actor who you don't think the average moviegoer will have heard of, but you wish they did. And they looked at each other, smiled, Tom and Bodhi, and said Tony Jaa. And I said, you two are my best friends now because that's such a good pick. And I've watched most of Tony Jaa's, major films, and he's awesome. Yeah, he does Muay Thai, and so like The Protector and Ong Bak. Awesome guys. Awesome guys. Really looking forward to chatting with them later today. Ooh, excuse me, voice a little scratchy. So next year we'll see a fully funded actual play that stars me and the rest of the Cursed Work crew. A fully funded actual play? Well, I don't even know what that means, Jason. I know these Strife. I really want to run more sessions, though, not just with content creators, but with community members, and not necessarily even streamed. I do want to run more of my game because I want to, the next year, as we refine and finish up the manuscript, I want to put a lot more monsters through the ringer, through the test ringer. I think that'll be good. And once the beta is out at the end of the year, start of next year, like around that time, which is basically a content complete version of the rulebook with no art or layouts or anything, it'll look a little garbo in comparison. But that's when I really want to put the game through its final testing before I lock in the numbers on everything. So there'll be a lot of monsters I need to throw at people. I'm actually already thinking of new sessions to throw at people, new one-shots. Speaking of margins, Zan, hey Zamforian, margin. I was watching a video today that indicated the margins for MTG hovers around 50%, which is crazy, right? It's there's a lot of craziness like that. Production is expensive. Martin asks why are you not pocketing anything? You front loaded a lot of money and time. That's mainly because this number, let's see, tap tap tap, isn't high enough to do so. So when I went into this, I considered any time and money I put into the project as an investment in the product, one that doesn't need to pay out in cash. It was what I wanted to do, and it was a lot of fun. Like I used my own money to like buy a bunch of artwork, and it was so awesome. Hey, it just ticked over to 4,200 on my screen. Hey, it's awesome with 39 minutes to go. And so, I mean, if this number had gotten really big, I actually had planned breakpoints of which, okay, maybe pay back some of my own investment. But again, the margins here are very slim, and I didn't want to set this goal inherently including paying me back for what I've put in, because then the number would be much higher. And the goal here, all of that sacrifice, was to make the game a reality. And I don't regret a penny of that, or a minute of its time, or a penny of the dollars. Because honestly, I would have gotten all that artwork I had made just for me as a like a treat to myself, even if I never, crowdfunded the game, because I've got some amount of disposable income, some amount of it, and rather than buying any new video games or toys for myself, I bought art for my game, which felt really good to buy, and established all these working relationships with various artists, which is awesome. Oh yeah, and I'm seeing some people have joined the TFE Discord server. I'll say welcome in there. But yeah, we do have a Discord server for those that don't know. It serves two purposes. One, it's a place where I talk about my own game design, right? There's info about my game, and I talk shop about that, and I organize playtests. And two, it is a tabletop developer hub for those that are working on their own games to connect and talk shop. And it's very specifically a place where we want calm, mature, intelligent feedback given to each other. Like I believe in, how did I write it in the rules? It's communicating proactively and with compassion, right? It's a very specific like mindset that I try to enforce in that community. There's enough negativity out there. We can critique each other's work, but it's not a place to yell at each other. So I really like my Discord server. There's like over 700 members. It's crazy. I'm sure half of them are bots at this point because that's how Discord is. But okay, let's see here. For a medieval version, will you look at exact mechanic or altering? So the underlying, great question. Each system is going to use the same core, the TFE core resolution, which is what will be in the SRD. But you'll make there'll still be injury rolls and attacks and all of that. Like that core will still be there. But layered on top of that, in each of these books, is a new subsystem relevant to that genre. So the medieval setting is going to have a magic system, right? A system for magic that isn't just built into the core rules, but is layered on top of it, and ways to get access to that, and special equipment and new monsters and all of that kind of business. So it'll all work. It's like if you have a D&D book for Forgotten Realms and a D&D book for Eberron, they work together, right? You can mix and match the content from them, really, if you just want a genre mashup. But it's a little bit more like something like Savage Worlds, or a game system that can be ported into new settings, and you just add bespoke mechanics on top of that. Like the one setting book is called codename Satanic Panic, and it's like Stranger Things era X-Files investigative horror in a small Midwest town. And so there's going to be layered on top of that like a town panic system, where the town can be in a state of panic that you could then apply to any other TFE game, or really any game at all. So anyway, there's going to be rules layering. Let's see. Weapons are my biggest curiosity concern. It's easier to go backward in time than forwards. Oh, yeah. So every rule book has its own equipment list, right? Because the way that equipment works is they're housed in vendors. So, in the Weird West setting, you go over to the gunsmith, and the gunsmith document, right? The gunsmith catalog has the type of equipment for the gunsmith, right? So in the medieval setting, there won't be any firearms, right? You'll have crossbows and bows, and there'll be more types of those things than there would be in the Clockworld setting. The Clockworld setting doesn't have a lot of variety of melee weapons. Like there's no great axe and great sword and halberd and all those sort of different nuanced weaponry, because this is a Weird West. I mean, you can still pick up a sledgehammer and a cavalry saber and such, but the focus isn't on that. So the medieval book will have a lot more melee weapons. There's only one type. There's a crossbow and a hunting bow in the Clockworld setting, and that's it. The medieval one will also have things like a longbow, right, or an arbalist. Like there will be more nuance to that, like more of like an English medieval longbow you'd be able to have. Things that wouldn't make sense in the Clockworld setting. Like there won't be a a tinkerer in the medieval setting that makes flamethrowers and stuff, right? So it'll be bespoke for each. But you could mix and match them if you really wanted to, because mechanically speaking, they were all made with the same underlying system, and they'll be comparatively balanced with one another. I mean, obviously firearms are deadlier than a bow, but you know, makes sense. Oh, Frank asks, do you hope to have the book ready to take us to some convention? I would love to have hard copies. The plan is to bring hard copies with me to Gen Con 2026. That is the current plan, to actually be able to vend them at Gen Con. That would be what we are really aiming to try to do. I would like to make it to more conventions. That's the whole like work-life balance thing though. Like conventions are a huge deal and they're not cheap to go as like a company, and they're a lot of work and time and travel. So we'll see. I would love to. There's a great YouTube called Pam Walls, and she's talks about finance. Oh, I'll have to look into that. Let's see. I'm catching up here on chat. Have you considered doing a buying artwork video? Yeah, so I actually, on Reddit, I made a post about how I found my artists. So turning that into more of a video could be good, but if you look for my Reddit profile, like the Tales from Elsewhere one of my posts is on that. I could always post it in the TFE Discord. But it was pretty simple. I actually used like hungry artists, art commissions, and various Reddits. Excuse me. Okay, let's see here. The Discord is great. Oh, thank you. Scrat's game called Nuts is a lot of fun. I want to play some more of that. We were talking about playing. We off stream played a game where I was an Unga Bunga caveman priest who worshipped the fire, and it was a lot of fun. So I want to play some more like that. Sounds like the Discord will be dead because the internet thrives on conflict. That's, I mean, sad but true, right? No, the Discord server is, I think, my Discord server is very active, I would say. And I'm really happy about that because I haven't been able to be as active in it, participating in the discussions as much. I've been just so busy with the Kickstarter. But yeah, it's a place that there's always a chatter going on in the open design channel. And so it's a very cool place. Let's see here. Pathways to Defender. I finished up my first class expansion to my system as well earlier last week. Congrats, my friend. Good stuff. Let's see. I like that Everyday Heroes took all their layers of add-on stuff from their cinematic adventures and placed with the serial numbers filed off their Vault supplement. Oh, interesting. I haven't actually read through Everyday Heroes. Daniel, the dev on the project, he has a copy of that. It might actually still be in my garage, but I haven't actually read that. We were a big fan of D20 Modern like 20 years ago. Like we really enjoyed D20 Modern, and so we were hoping to recapture some of that. Let's see here. Trade shows are a damn nightmare. Yeah, it's a lot of work to attend a trade show as a vendor. It's a lot of fun to attend as a guest. I think a video on that would be good content. Yeah, there's a lot of like the production side things that I'd like to start producing. The big reason why I haven't previously made any videos really on the production of my game and its Kickstarter is because I wanted to make sure it all worked okay. I wanted to see how it went before I start recommending a path to people. Because I would prefer not to just speak in theory on that, but rather from actually, figuring it out. Yeah, the artwork finding. Yeah, definitely. How critical are you for any product using AI artwork? I'm taking a real self-funded, no backing. I'm talking a self-funded, no backing indie game. So that's a really complicated subject. I think that if you are and what I'm gonna give you a recommendation for those watching. If your choice is between using generative AI to make your artwork or no artwork at all, I recommend actually going with no artwork. But honestly, stock art and historical artwork is either free or incredibly inexpensive. Where I think that with just a little more due diligence, you could spend very little money and have a ton of very cool looking art. I like to plug, let me find it here. So for example, I'm going to share my screen. So Diesel Shot, this is just an indie artist and game developer, and they produce bundles that are very inexpensive of stock art that are free, full commercial license. This is what a little under $13 for 64 pieces, of which there are variants of adventure gear, like just black and white adventure gear, all sorts of stuff, just tons and tons of stuff. Or they have some monster art here, or cyberpunk stuff, just tons of stuff. Very, very inexpensive, and it's full commercial license. So I think that I would recommend staying away from generative AI artwork in any independent product. There's, again, that is a big conversation. Personally, I grapple with AI at my day job and its sins. And my opinion is in the tabletop space, which for me has always been a pencil and paper and dice around a table with friends. That's a space to leave the AI out, right? There's a lot of ethical considerations about the use of generative content of any kind when it comes to energy and so forth. That's a solely separate subject. But I think if you're an indie designer, go with like historical art or stock art. It's all really accessible. And you can make really awesome looking products without using generative, because there's a huge percentage of the tabletop audience that just will not buy a product if it uses generative AI. So I would recommend not doing it. That is my opinion in short on the subject. Even if you're a no budget person, go to historical art archives. A lot of it is free to use. Also, the indie space is a place for other independent creatives, like, traditional artists. We can help support each other, right? It's a great symbiotic relationship. Okay, let's see what else we got here. I see Braga. Get a load of this guy still making videos for that dead game, Tales from something or other. This guy. Good morning, Sam. I see Lay was on the other side of the planet. Well, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so Everyday Heroes being built on the 5e chassis is a bit of a turnoff for me at this point. I've just played this iteration of Dungeons and Dragons so much, like this particular experience, because 5e isn't that different from 3.5. Like as far as gameplay experiences, it's different. But honestly, I've been playing D&D for over 25 years now, and 4th edition was a new type of game. Like it really was. Like that was a different experience I got. And 5th edition and now D&D 2024, they're very 3.5 to me. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, but it's like my runway on wanting to play more D&D outside of my regular D&D group is kind of running out. Like I'll play whatever game my local group does because it's so fun to just hang out with my guys. I've been playing tabletop games with this one group every other Friday for 15 years straight. And so I'll play whatever there. Like if it's D&D, if it's Cypher, whatever, I'll have fun with it. But just whoever's running, we rotate the DM seat. Whoever's running just picks the game, basically. And right now we're doing a lot of D&D in a tier 3 pirate/spelljammer campaign, which is super fun. I love it. Vote with your dollars, however you'd like that to be, is one of the greatest powers we have in the economy. Oh yeah, Carl makes stuff. So yeah, on the historical art, so Carl just, I just watched your video the other day on Scrat's channel about your 4 Horsemen EZD6 playbook, or I forgot, they're not called playbooks. I forget they're called in EZD6. But it had a bunch of historical artwork because it's during a very particular time period. Anyway, I find historical art actually quite immersive. Quite immersive indeed. 2020, 2024 could have been an email. Changed my mind. That makes me chuckle from Otacon there, because so much of my day job is like answering emails and running meetings. I keep thinking, like, if people would just read my emails, then we wouldn't have to have this meeting. Yeah, 2024 feels like maybe as much of a change as third edition to 3.5, or maybe a little less. It's a patch to 5e. What I mean by that is it is substantively providing the same gameplay experience as the 5e base rulebook. It's just they tweaked the balance, right? That's really all they did. It is not a change in gameplay like I would expect new additions to be substantively different. Like Cypher, this isn't a plug the Cypher crowdfunding. They don't need me. They got over $1 million. So between Cypher 1e and 2e, they changed the health abstraction from depleting your pools to, they call it a wound system, but it's like a Savage Worlds type wound system. You get, the hindrance if you take enough damage. Like that's going to substantively change the gameplay experience of the product, I think. 2024 and the 5e to 2024 it's a patch of the rule system. I still own the books. Like, I'm probably going to, I will buy any new edition that they release of D&D probably, but I'm not going to buy any more of their ancillary products at this point. I don't have a use for it. I'm not running D&D anymore. I'm playing it, but I can just get away with the player's handbook most of the time at this point, because, that's all I'm really doing. I'm not running a lot of D&D. I got my own game. If I want to run something, I want to run something in my system, or maybe Cypher. Cypher was a lot of fun, especially for supers. Yeah, it's quality of life improvements. See you later, Frank. Saw you there. It's quality of life improvements. Like, they made some good adjustments to the rule system for sure. Some of which drive me absolutely batty. Like the way that they wrote hide at like stealth in 2024 makes my head hurt, because now hiding gives you the invisible condition, and that is such a game language sentence. I thought that 5e was doing a decent job of moving into natural language rules structure with the way it would present rules. I like natural language rules. I do. So now it says, like, if you successfully hide, which is always just a DC 15 stealth check, you gain the invisible condition. I hate it. I hate that language so much. Hiding doesn't make you invisible. Like, it doesn't give you the invisible condition. I don't know. It's just, I really dislike that. So some things boggle the mind. 2024, whoever designed the 2024 Ranger still hates Ranger, the Ranger class, for some reason. It drives me nuts. The Ranger is still, I think, one of the poorest designed classes in the system, in D&D. I think it was in 5e, and it is in 2024. Not saying it's unbalanced, right? Like, the Ranger isn't bad at damaging things. I just think from a evocation standpoint, it's like a wet noodle. It's totally lame. Like, for those that have it, look at the Ranger's capstone ability in the 2024 rules. It's something like increase the damage die of Hunter's Mark from a D6 to a D10. Like, yeah, that's mechanically a bit more damage, but it's level 20, guys. It's level 20. That's so boring. While, like, the clerics are moving mountains and talking to their god, and the wizards remaking reality, the Ranger does slightly more average damage per round. Their DPR slightly went up. It's like, come on. Where's the fun evocation of the wizard there? What's your capstone anyway? Let me catch up on chat here. Okay, Michael asked a really interesting question about AI in general, some of which is separate from generative AI, right? So I don't want to dive into this too much on this live stream, because I think it requires actually a dedicated conversation to do so maturely. Just really quick. When most people say they have a problem with AI, they're actually talking about generative AI, specifically things that produce image and words for you. Things like grammar checks, Photoshop like helps you touch up things. That's all labeled under AI. AI is really technically a misnomer. None of these things are actually artificial intelligence. It's very complicated. I will say technology can have the great power to help humans for accessibility reasons. For example, like one application of quotes AI is to help for those that cannot see, have vision issues, being able to aggregate text on a screen and present and summarize it to them in audio is something that AI can help do, right? That's a good use of it. But just most of the AI conversation is all about making money right now, right? It's about just making their billions. Because remember, if they're giving you access to a product for free or cheap, it means you are the product. Because the data that people put into everything you put into ChatGPT, they own. And what you are doing by using ChatGPT is training their algorithms. It's training their tool to make it more valuable for investors. That's the real money, is the data. They sell your data. It's like $1 trillion industry. So sadly, that is what AI is actually about. Not necessarily about alleviating suffering within humanity, right? That's like I said, whole other conversation. There's like the concept of AI, and then there's the, what technology can use to help humans. Totally separate conversation. We'll set that aside for now. I do honestly, it's something maybe one day I'll do a video on, because my background is in philosophy and ethics, and I would like to try to remove some of the noise around that conversation and talk about it maturely and provide some information, maybe at a later date. Let's see here. I assume the stealth rule changes are an import and an attempt to be a 1/2 point from Pathfinder. Oh, maybe. Well, you did a barbarian fix, Peter. You could do. That's true. I really should, because the barbarian also annoys me, right? It annoyed me from its fiction. Maybe I will. I don't spend a lot of time like thinking of how I'm gonna fix 5e or like fix D&D, because any of those good ideas I just build into my own game. It's a little different. I feel modern combat systems are just snappier. Initiative and simultaneous or collaborative turn taking has been such a game changer for me. 5e feels dated to me lately. D&D actually has been behind the curve on innovation in tabletop for 20 years now. Honestly, it's ever since 4th edition was them attempting to shake it up a little bit, and then they're never going to shake it up again. Potentially, it was too much of a risk. But yeah, I agree that when D&D products come out, they feel like they're behind the innovations that a lot of the small independent or even rules light community has found as far as adventure creation, or even like layout artwork. D&D though is crushed under the weight of its own legacy, right? It needs to have this continuum with its history, because that's what keeps people connected to it. They can't innovate too much, because then they lose this history. Anyway, that's a whole problem they have. Oh yeah, milestone play. I see. Talking about the exploration pillar. Yeah, exploration pillar is an afterthought in D&D rules as written, and so that means something the ranger's supposed to be good at doesn't seem to be as important. You'd have to build out the exploration pillar. Yeah, it's a very good point. How are we doing on time here? 15 minutes left. Wow, we are over I just took a look at the number here. We are well over 42K now. That's awesome. So cool to see. 763 backers. That's so many people buying a game. Right? Like it's wild to think of how many people that is that will be having my game next year. Now, I know in reality, most people, when they buy a game, they don't get a chance to actually play it. Like, how often do people actually take their new games to a table? I'm hoping that people will get a chance to play it, right? That their local group will buy in. I'm hoping that the artwork and the vibe of this book, this sort of acid Western, actually quite like vibrant and horrifying and engaging game, will help bring people in, like sell them on the idea of the game when you take it to your local table. Oh, and make them experts at identifying weak points on foes. Yeah, that stuff's very cool. Oh, to play. Isaac was saying, "Missed my chance to tell Peter to play 25 Minutes to Go by Johnny Cash." Oh, that would have been good. Possibly copyright struck immediately, but that would have been great. Um, yeah, Luan. Yeah, so shipping to Canada is so expensive even right now. It's absolutely crazy. I will say for those that are worried about shipping internationally from the because I'm in the United States. This is not the last time that I will be selling hard copies of this game, so worry not. In the future, we may be maybe when things calm down shipping wise, we could take more orders like from our own website. We do plan on investing if things stay bad shipping wise. We will be investigating print on demand through drive through potentially because they can do international local printing. So we're going to look into that. Basically, we just need to, we're doing one offset print run here. That's what, this number here is all about. It's getting one offset print run done. And then we'll assess on more ways to get the book out there if there is desire. So I appreciate your interest, even if, just shipping sucks right now. Oh, Otacon, thank you for the congrats. I love your videos and thought process on game design. That means a lot to hear. Honestly, the YouTube channel blew up. I was so surprised. I mean, we started it just a little over a year ago, and it's like it's 6.7 thousand subscribers. It's absolutely mind-blowing to see like thousands of people watch me sitting here at my desk talking to my cell phone. This is my cell phone camera, right? Talk about game design. It's really validating and heartening to see. Um, uh, yeah, I had to sing a sea shanty to avoid copyright strike with DM Tales. Oh, that's funny. We will play for sure. The irony is I probably won't be running it or using my book. Yeah, for sure, Wiley. How much? Oh, wow, we're almost out of time. It's so crazy. This hour and a half has flown by. What's funny is that after this, I got to go sit in that other chair and do my day job. I got to go be a software developer. It's going to be so hard to focus. Um, let's see. Oh yeah. So uh, Jeff. So even though the Kickstarter hasn't quite finished yet, we only have a few minutes. I've already talked with multiple artists about their work, and one, Jeff Whitty, is so excited. I've already started seeing stuff from him. That is one of the artists working on the project in chat with us right now. Jeff Whitty Art, absolutely awesome guy and really cool artist, and just such a good fit when I first talked to him. Can't wait. He is making so much art already. And he's working on like the vendor pages and the equipment lists and all that. It's so cool. Like every piece of equipment in the rulebook has its own sketch, like has its own art piece, because it's all going to look like. Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2? When you go shopping, you like flip through a magazine. That's what the vendor system is going to replicate. And so every piece of equipment you can buy will have its own little sketch. That's so immersive and cool. Can't wait. Oh, shipping to South Africa is so expensive. Oh yeah, it's just crazy. Shipping can double the price of the book right now. It's just absolutely nuts. Let's see. Is the next setting going to be a Wasteland Fallout setting? No, next one's probably going to be medieval. So I actually do have concepts for a kind of more Mad Max-like setting, which is funny because Scorched Basin is going on right now. I have my own ideas. That's codenamed Rager's Road. Using this awesome brutal injury system in like car combat too, and like people getting their arms chopped off and all that. But a specific one that is Fallout is not currently, like the Fallout vibe, not currently on the books. Although honestly, Clockworld, like this one, you could probably run a Fallout game with it pretty easily. Honestly, you just have to homebrew a few things like the power armor and maybe some weapons, and you're like 90% of the way there. Hey, Arthur, so excited for this game. Thank you, my friend. So Arthur in chat made the beautiful map of the counties, the Clockworld map. He's in chat right now. Just absolutely incredible. Loved working with him on that. Just absolutely awesome. How are we doing on time? Just a few minutes left. 9 minutes left until it is officially closed, and I must go back to my day job for the rest of the day. Twisted Logic just realized I've only thought about pledging, not actually done it. Well, thank you. Thank you for pledging. It does mean a lot that anybody that not only we like that we funded and that this many people are down to like support this project and play the game. Like, oop, hit my desk. It's quite surreal to see and awesome. It hasn't even sunk in yet, really. Don't buy any more books. I'll tell your wife that Dungeons and Dyslexia. Jeff Whitty is so cool. He's on the other side of the world from me, and so it's rare for me to link up with him to be able to watch his stuff because I'm often at my day job. But yeah, his work is so fun. DM with a day job. System reference document, please. Yes, there will be. That is coming. So if people do end up making their own Fallout supplement using the SRD that I'll be making, heck yeah, that sounds awesome. Yes, I just this week I was iterating on the SRD and the open license, and the plan is to try to get that out to everybody shortly after the beta release, that everybody who backed the game at PDF for Hire gets the beta. That'll be at the end of this year, which is basically a content complete product. It's going to look kind of ugly because it won't have the art or the layouts, but it's a beta of the rule system. So people could start playing it without having to wait for the physical production. But around that time, shortly thereafter, we'll also release the SRD and the open game license for the it's called TFE Core, the underlying rule system. So folks could immediately start homebrewing stuff or even producing content and selling it under that license. My hope is to get lots of stuff out there. Just let the community build for free, right? And that way, when the books start arriving on people's doorsteps, the final product, there's already all this content, right, that people have been working on and homebrewing and putting out there and sharing. I just think that would be awesome. A magical crime noir setting would be cool. Oh, I love urban arcana noir type stories so much, Sam. I love that genre so much. It would be very natural to be able to do that in my rule system. It's all your fault we want to play the game, Sheriff. Yeah, thank you, Drew. I'm a pretty good hype man, I must say. I like hyping other people's products, and I get really excited talking about my own game, and that's kind of contagious. Oh, Isaac said clocks equals synths. Yeah, you could totally do. I'm also a big Blade Runner fan, right? So yeah, you could totally do something like that. Have an origin edge that is synth. Works for Alien too. Oh, thank you for the congratulations. Thank you. See you later, Zarek. Saw Odenski Gaming there. Oh, Zanforin was saying, personally, my brain is still tinkering with pirates. Oh, my friend, you know how much I love pirate games and how much I want to work on. I don't remember the code name for the pirate, an Age of Piracy version. With this injury system, imagine when the broadside happens from the enemy ship and like cannonballs hit your ship and like wood splinters and masts start falling down, like all the gruesome injuries that you could get from that. Like a mast falls and crushes your leg, like wood splinters fly in your eyes, just like so gnarly for an Age of Piracy game. Like that would be awesome. Tales from the Pestilence. That is a cool name. As Salty Nick says, as a fun prank, everyone had $100 in the last 5 minutes. That's funny. I haven't actually played the Blade Runner RPG, Andre's GM tips. I probably should. I wish I had more time to play games. I'm hoping to reclaim some of that over the next year. Pirate Borg was ridiculously fun and kind of viral. Yeah, I haven't played Pirate Borg yet. I have this open invitation from Salty Nick to play Pirate Borg, and it's just a scheduling thing. I have so little free time. I really want to play it though, especially with Salty Nick. Pirate in TTRPGs is like peak gameplay. I love it. It's one of the only things that competes anywhere near with my love of Weird West is pirates. It's like pirate settings. Weird West is way at the top. Peter gushing about the gruesome injuries people suffered during 17th century ship combat. Yikes. This shouldn't surprise you. I like horror. Horror gets me excited. Oh, thank you, Mr. Vincent. Thank you, thank you. How am I doing on time? 4 minutes. Yeah, wow. It's well over 4,200. That's awesome. Yeah, I get really excited about historical horror, actually. Like the absolutely nightmare fuel that history can serve up when making horror content, when making horror role-playing games. You know, the history is full of everything you could need. For example, I was just thinking about this upcoming Medieval Madness game, you know, just letting my mind wander. And I remembered a little factoid I had about antiquity and the concept of the brazen bull. And I will not talk about what the brazen bull is on YouTube because it's very gruesome. Viewer discretion advised if you look at like the Wikipedia page for what the brazen bull is. This is quite a horrible ancient execution and torture method. But, you know, like that kind of stuff is fuel for creating tense horror gameplay that is grounded in history. It's drawing on the actual horrors of a time period, and what would be terrifying to people then really can fuel it. Peter's out. Hey, Dadi, Peter's out here like somebody say wounds. That meme is, I love that meme. They're like, that's how you summon me. I stay much too abreast of too many Discord servers, and so like I look around. I don't use an algorithm or any tool to do that. But yeah, when somebody starts talking about wounds, I want to stop by. I do need to cut down on my Discord networking a little bit, though. I think I'm in too many Discords. Brazen Bull is lit. Is it just me who's getting ha ha ha? Yeah. The success of any game system is how it handles getting a peg leg. True. Very true. Let's see. I need to get back to work on my pirate cowboy game. That sounds awesome, right? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Brazen Bull is horrible. Like seriously, like it's very disturbing. You know. Anyway. Wounds mentioned. It's far too easy to join too many Discord servers. Yeah, it is. All right, we have 2 minute. Yeah, it's the 2 minute warning. Just a little bit of time left. We are at 40. Right now, we are at 42,371. Isn't that wild? I just think that's like that number is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely crazy. It's just so wild. And for those that don't know, oh my gosh, it's actually got a seconds countdown. Oh, wow. What's kind of crazy, you think I learned how to point on this stream. What's funny, so Kickstarter doesn't just like give me the cash in that moment. Like it's going to take time to process, but only a minute and a half left, y'all. So in these last few moments of the stream, I'm not going to like shut it off when it reaches 0, but last few moments of the stream and the Kickstarter, I want to thank you, community member who is watching this live or later, just how much all the support and positive words and encouragement and interest that everybody's shown over the last year with me, my design ideology, and this game. And there's nothing better than running a game like live for some content creators, and then I'm all DMing you afterward and be like, please run another one of these. We had so much fun, right? Just that sort of feeling of connecting with others, running games with the community, and all the comments that I get on my videos where people are saying how much this is helping them in their design journey. All that's been so cool. You know, dollar values aside, that's just been an incredible year. A very strange change in my life from not even having any social media since MySpace to being a YouTuber with approaching 7,000 subscribers now or something crazy. Can we make a bingo card? Rangers, Barbarians, Wounds. That's great. Thank you, everybody who's offering congrats. Yeah, the red seconds is ticking down. Wow. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of anxiety inducing seeing it tick down like that. It actually makes me really nervous. Like, is everything correct on there? It's going to lock in. So y'all will be seeing a charge on your bank account. 0 seconds to go. Wow, it had built-in confetti. Let's take a look at the page together here. I won't hop over to my day job quite yet. Let's see. Oh, wow. It's got like fireworks on the page. Let's refresh. There it is. It is done. 767 backers backed this project. That's just so cool. Oh, am I sharing the wrong screen? What's going on my, oh no. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, y'all. Let's switch back over to here. Yeah, wow. Thanks to everybody who came and hung out this morning, too. Oh, the little, this little thing broke. The Kickstarter view broke because the page changed. Yeah, thank you everybody who came and hung out this morning and chatted, and everybody who supported the project. Even if you couldn't buy into the project, just your interest, watching the videos, commenting, hanging out in the Discord, it all means a lot. So thank you all so much. It's really been quite meaningful over the last year to have so many people have my back on this. It's very cool. I hope you all have a good rest of your day or night or whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. Time for me to go over to the day job and try not to just think about this for the next 8 hours as I work. But come hang out in the TFE Discord server. I'm going to be ramping up to running a lot more games in the TFE Discord server with community members, not even streamed, just hanging out and running one-shots to test more scenarios and monsters as we refine the balance, as we put the finishing touches on the manuscript. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Catch you later.